The question started this part in the video, but if you want to hear me give a history lecture, keep watching. Do you know why the year 2017 is a significant year in American history? Besides that. And that. Okay, the answer has nothing to do with current politics. I'm talking about an anniversary.
The 230th anniversary of the writing of the U.S. Constitution?
No. The 100-year anniversary of the U.S.'s involvement in World War I? No.
The 50th anniversary of the Doors' debut album?
No, Mallory, get out of here! Most of those are good guesses, but you all are forgetting the real important anniversary that's happening this year. 2017 is the 205th anniversary of the War of 1812.
Why is that important?
Well, duh. The War of 1812 was like the war that proved to the world that America meant business. See, after the Revolution in 1776, Britain more or less saw the rebels winning the war as beginner's luck. Plus, I mean, they got help from France, so it technically wasn't fair, you know? 2-on-1. The years that followed the Revolution sadly weren't the best for the US as a country, in all fairness. They were low on money, their first system of government quickly fell into shambles, and riots broke out. Plus, in terms of international diplomacy, the US didn't really have any buddies, since England hated them and France was mad that the US wouldn't have their back when they wanted to start their own revolution. Though, eventually things worked out between the two, and Napoleon even gave the US some more land later on, including the part I live in, so thanks, Napoleon. But basically, all these issues eventually accumulated into the Brits being like, okay, buddy, you've had your fun, now come back inside and stop playing up in your treehouse, and America was like, no! So Britain had to once again go out and try and drag its kid back into the house. In other words, the War of 1812 was pretty much
The Revolution, Part 2. This time it's personal. Rated PG-13.
Now, the new and interesting thing that made the War of 1812 different than the Revolution was this thing called Canada, which was a small territory north of the US owned by Britain at the time. And America had tried to invade it, but to no avail. Pretty much, it was stuck in the middle the entire time. Think of the well-behaved little sibling who Britain told, okay, you're gonna help me get your older sibling out of their treehouse, and Canada, being ever so polite, said, okay! And then Canada went out and burned the treehouse down. You think I'm joking? I'm not! Canadians actually burnt down the White House during the war. Well, okay, that's supposedly a myth. It was likely British troops accompanied by some possible Canadians, which sort of makes the allegory a bit more frightening, really. But either way, the White House burned down, and they had to rebuild a ton of it afterwards. So the White House of today is pretty much
The White House, Part 2. This time it's personal. Rated PG-13.
Anyway, despite the setbacks, the US still won the war, more or less, and we're even cool with Canada now, and the burning thing is all under the bridge. And just to prove my point, I'm here today with special guest LourdesLikeItIs to showcase our two countries' camaraderie. We're going to be answering questions we have about each other's way of life. Just to make sure, you are Canadian, right?
Yeah, I'm technically a Canadian citizen.
Yep, okay, cool. just making sure. That would have been embarrassing if you weren't. For this video, I'll be asking Lourdes questions, and on her channel, she made a video about asking me questions about America, so check out that one after this one. Question 1. Do you like living in Canada?
Yes, I do enjoy living in Canada, or as I like to call it, the superior North American country.
Do you think it's weird that your McDonald's have a little maple leaf on all the logos? I think that's weird.
I personally don't find it weird that we have a maple leaf on our McDonald's logo. It doesn't really make a difference. You're still going to get the same type of food, so it doesn't really matter to me, except you guys don't have poutine in your country, which is kind of a bummer.
What is up with bagged milk? Why do you do that? Explain yourself!
Okay, first off, I'd like to say that I live in Western Canada, and we don't have bagged milk here, so don't you dare categorize me like that. Bagged milk is sold in Eastern Canada, so like Quebec, Ontario, and I believe the Maritimes. I understand the concept, and it's not that weird. I just feel like Americans freak out about it too much. It's not too bad.
Fine, fair enough. Do you speak any French?
Quebec is really the only place where French is spoken throughout the whole province, and I've taken French classes before because it's part of the curriculum because Canada's a bilingual country, but I personally don't know much of the language.
Comment disappointing. Nous serions peu poser ces questions en français. Are winters really as cold as people say they are up there?
Winters are cold in every other province except for British Columbia. Well, at least the southern part. You could call BC the California of Canada, if you get what I'm saying. The worst it gets here is about -15 Celsius, which isn't too bad, but it's still pretty cold.
You don't really say A after everything, do you?
We don't say A after everything, and we also don't say a boot, if you were wondering.
Okay, why is your Thanksgiving in October?
Canadian Thanksgiving is in October because our calendars say so, of course, you know. I actually have no clue why. But hey, at least we don't have people killing each other over a 4-speed blender.
If you had to choose, would you say Canadian culture is closer to American or British culture as a whole? I mean, you guys use the metric system, so...
I'd have to say that Canada is a healthy mix of both. I feel like America is the weird brother of the family, and England is the really rich, bratty older sister, and Canada is the middle child who is respectable and acts pretty normal for the most part. They may all be different, but the three countries are still somewhat related.
Well, that throws my allegory out the window. Anyway, finally, question 9. Who's your favorite celebrity from your country?
I'd say my favorite celebrity from this country is probably Ryan Reynolds, but you don't quote me on that.
I'd say my favorite celebrity from this country is probably Ryan Reynolds, but don't quote me on that. LourdesLikeItIs 2017. And there you go, everyone. Real Canadian facts from a real Canadian. Thanks again for letting me interview you, Lourdes.
No problem. I'm always up for a conversation with substance.
So remember, everyone, Canadians are just like you and me. Give or take. And don't forget to check out the video on Lourdes' channel where I get asked questions about America. Just think of it as
Canada versus America Q&A Part 2. This time, it's personal. Oh, Canada, our home and native land. I totally know the words, and Nickelback is one of our bands. Nailed it.